woman, beautiful, warrior, veteran. She vet inspires. Hello and welcome to She Vet Inspires. I'm Wanda Petty, your host, Sister Soldier, and I have with me today Carolyn Owens, and she is the CEO and founder of Infinity Coaching. So I'd like to welcome you here, Carolyn, and thanks for coming. I really appreciate your, your boldness, because we knew that it may have been a challenge to get here, but you pushed through those things, and that's an example. That's a great example of what I want to amplify, to share with our listeners, the type of things to help them to overcome challenges that they have, whether it be active duty or whether it be something that, the transition. It's all about the transition. So I really want to welcome you here today, and I'm overwhelmed with joy because I really want to share your gifts. I want to share your gifts with our viewers today. I know that you are a coach and you have retired from the Navy, and now you're coaching people and helping others to do, transition so that they can have a smooth transition in life. And I remember when I met you and I called you and you was probably like, who is this woman that is reaching out to me talking about, well, she kind of guide me through this. But I was embarking upon becoming a career coach because I was one of those that was lost. I was confused. I didn't realize that my skills that I had while I was active duty was transferable into being a career coach. I had an inkling of an idea, but I wasn't too familiar with the process, and I knew that because you were a woman veteran and that you were in that space already, that I knew without a doubt in my heart, just your photo showed me that I could call you. And so I took the chance. I overcame a fear of a challenge to, and reach out to you, and you replied. So I'm honored today that you are here. At that time, you were the president of the Career Development Association in the state of Maryland. And I was thinking, oh my God, I'm calling the woman all the way to the top. I'm not, I just skipped over everybody else, but your photo stuck out at me. And because you were a woman veteran, that really spoke volumes that I could do it too. And so today I really want to share with our listeners and our viewers, how can someone, embark in that career? But first I want to know a little bit about you. Tell us, what brought you to this point in your life as far as being a career coach?
Well, first I want to say thank you so much for having me, Wanda, on She Vet Inspires. And I want to also thank you for your service and for all the wonderful things you do, continuing not to forget those that we served with, and inspiring and motivating women veterans. So I thank you so much for that. And again, I'm honored to be here, and thank you so much for the wonderful things you've said. While I was on active duty, I primarily served in doing a lot of human resources functions, serving as the director of human capital management for an organization, working with military, civilian, and contract personnel. But really what I liked most about the job serving was the mentoring coaching I got to do. I was blessed to retire as a Navy commander after 24 years of service. And I didn't want to leave that part behind. So I started thinking very early out, about 18 months out, actually really 2 years out, what is it that I want to do in my next career? How can I continue to serve and give back? And then I started exploring the world of coaching. And I realized I had learned so much about the career process and career development and career strategies that I wanted to be able to do that when I retired. So I looked at various coaching programs. I looked at what was going to fit my personality, what was going to help my desire to serve, to continue to grow that. I always believe that if we're not learning, then if we're not continuing to grow, part of us dies. And so I needed something that was going to be able to feed that desire of education and continuing learning that I possess. And so I did look at various coaching programs to see, although I had the years of experience, some people like to see these certifications behind your name, but I wanted a program. A lot of programs are just these quick one-day programs or these quick 3-day programs, but I wanted a program that I could get immersed in and really kind of learn the craft, to really be a master coach. I have earned several coaching certifications, from a certified life coach to a certified career coach, a federal career coach, as well as a social media career strategist, but each one was specifically picked to fit into my plan and how I desired to serve.
So when you mentioned that you began planning 18 months out, 24 months out before you got out of the military, what were some of the things you look for? How would someone find, there's so many different things out there now. How did you critique them? How did you rate which one might have been the better one for you to join? And were you able to use any of your GI Bill to transition into that career field?
Well, I will say I did not use my GI Bill because I was looking to use that. I do have a teenage son, and I'm praying he chooses to either go to college or a vocational program where he can use the GI Bill for himself. So that's part of why I started mapping out early on, so that I would, understand. I looked at my finances, having a financial plan to actually make a successful transition. And so when I was looking at the different coaching programs, I looked at the requirement, would I have to travel, what's in the vicinity of where I plan to be geographically, the cost was a factor, what type of curriculum they had. And would there be a way that I'd have a connection with them afterwards, that they would continue to help me grow and reinforce my skill set? Or would it be, you had these programs where you train for a day or 2 days or 3 days, and you never hear anything else from the community or the organization. But I looked at ones that will continue that enhancement, as I said, that continual learning process. I think it varies per individual. What's going to best suit them? So you also got to know a little bit about yourself. And sometimes when we're serving, there's a certain part of ourselves that gets lost. And so I had, there's various that I'm now certified to administer, but there are several kind of personality assessments that I looked at to see where is my best fit? What type of careers did I want to go into? And fortunately for me, everything was consistent with a lot of the things that I looked at, that I had a consistent theme in my life.
So you had you had an inclination in your gut, your gut feeling, that kind of said, this is really where you want to go. This is, the things that you've been doing, that you had that passion, and finding that passion. I like to, refer to is your knower. It's like you feel you just flow free in that thing, whatever it is that you're doing, and that's what you need to recreate, because again, as you mentioned, when we enter the service, we're trained, and we have this rigid box that we cannot go out of the perimeters. It's like, this is why I wear bold colors, because for so long we wore BDUs and we wore our uniform, and we had to be in that color. And I just want to do something different. And so by you paying attention to what it is that you have been doing, you've actually decided that you may be on to something by just staying in that particular field, because it led you from one step to the next. And oftentimes people think that, I don't want to go there if there's a diversion. When that cross training comes, and you're at that road where you have to make a decision whether this training will be good for you, or how will you be able to use it in your upcoming life or in your future, then it's like, okay, will I do that? But you have to know in your intuition, as you stated, whether or not if this is something that you can use later on, or you enjoy doing it.
You also look at with the military, though. A lot of our training is not by choice.
Yes.
We're told, hey, we got to do this, and we suit up, we go do what we need to do.
Yeah.
But it's also, I think that's where a lot of military, both men and women, have a problem transitioning, is being able to translate what they've done on active duty to private sector, civilian type skill sets.
Yeah.
Even when they're even trying to apply for the federal government, how do I translate what I've done?
Yeah.
And I will say they don't look at some of the leadership training and leadership skills that they have and customer service. And that's one of the things I try to help people do, is understand, with college students, with veterans, how do you begin to explain and write in your resume some of the things that you've done to make yourself marketable? Because really, when you're transitioning, be it in your own business, be it if you're getting a job, starting your own business, you begin to learn how to market yourself and how to pretty much sell yourself, because you are going to be your best marketing campaign that you
it's a
can
campaign.
Be.
It's a campaign. I had an aha moment when you said that we are put in positions that we don't particularly care about, or that we didn't get a chance to choose. As a recruiter, I know that sometimes we would enlist people who qualify for a certain job, and the job that they really wanted was not available, so they go into that particular field. And the problem is right when you, just as you mentioned, when you get ready to make that transition, we think that because we've been trained in that one area, even though that's not our first choice, that we have to continue in that. Well, I'm here today to say, no, I think you can recreate something totally different. I mean, it's a whole second chance at life, taking the things and the experience that you have and just carrying those things that can transfer, leaving the other things behind, and taking those and build from there. So that was that's a tweetable moment. That's a tweetable moment right there, thinking, that you don't have to go into that same field, especially if it was one that you didn't intend on going and you just took it because it was available.
One of the things when you're going through that transition process is really being able to not just look at your career path and kind of understanding what is it I really like to do, getting back to that true passion, and then you begin to look at a skill gap analysis. If you have that job or something that you've always wanted to do, and you're thinking, well, I don't know, can I do it? Start doing a skill gap analysis and see, is there some training you need to do? Do you need to go back to school? Have a mentor. Like you said, you reached out to me to get kind of, advice and opinion about life of career coach and things. So, you took that bold step, as you said. So I encourage other people, before you make that transition, begin to explore the industry. Begin to start looking at the associations and the publications and the different things that you can become informed about that industry, that career field.
Well, this is so good. I just want to say, wow. So if you have just tuned in, I'm sitting here. This is iNSPIRES, and I'm sitting here with Carolyn Owens from Infinity Coaching, and we're going over the transition and the process of transition. So stay with us, and we'll be right back.
There was the explosion, and I remember just opening my eyes, and it got both of my legs. I had surgery after surgery, and what's going to happen next? The Wounded Warrior Project said, look, brother, everything's going to be okay. 3 months from now, 4 months from now, a year from now, you'll be fine. I don't know if I would be as well adjusted as I am now if it wasn't for them.
To learn more, call 1-877-832-6997 or visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
Well, welcome back to iNSPIRES. And again, I'm sitting here with Carolyn Owens from Infinity Coaching, and we have been discussing the process of transitioning as a career coach. Carolyn is a career coach, and she has helped many to transition from various occupations, and she was just expressing to me the thought of what the process of what you need to do when you're looking for a job and reaching out and getting a mentor. I really think that that is vital. And because one of the things that I realized is that while we're active duty, we have someone there. Every time we go to a different location, there's always someone there that is willing and is to sponsor us. It's pretty much mandated, right? But the problem when we get out is there's nobody there. There's nobody there reaching their hand out to say, hey, let me show you. Let me take you here. Let me, show you the neighborhood. If you're coming back home, what's new? What's different? I've been gone for 4 years or 20 years, and I'm coming back home and thinking that, oh, my buddies are still doing the same thing, and they have changed, or I'm thinking that they have done something different and they really are doing nothing. So we don't have that. We don't have someone reaching back in our communities in most cases that are willing to show us like we had that sponsor. So I think that that's vital in getting a mentor, and that's one of the programs that iNSPIRES really are going to be launching is mentorship.
Yes.
And that's our purpose for this show. It's a virtual mentorship and really helping women who are serving or those who have exited out of the military, that we've been there. We've been there, and it's not that hard. It can be a challenge, it is. But if you have a roadmap, if you have someone that can walk you through and give you their life experience, such as what you're doing here today, and that's why I really appreciate you coming. So I want you to share with me some of the experiences that you had when you were making that transition that you didn't think that was going to work out in your benefit, and what did you do to change that around, to turn that around and really, find light in a dark situation?
See, I was blessed. I had a very successful transition. But when you look at the statistics and you look at the numbers of what women veterans experience, there aren't, as you said, programs out there for us. There are most of the programs are created for men by men. And so when you get the healthcare isn't there, even when you look at the VA system, it's not, to me, properly set up for women to be able to address the healthcare
They have
needs.
a new system, website that they came out with.
Yes, they have the website, but it also takes the time. We have, the thing is with a lot of women, they've experienced a lot of emotional issues, a lot of health and wellness issues dealing with depression, anxiety, that has not surfaced till years later because they've held it in. They have not been able to address it. They didn't have anyone to go to. And in the positions that a lot of us were in, if you tried to speak up, it was not, you weren't getting the help that you needed. It was pretty much you suck it up and you get back to work. So there are a lot of challenges and different things that have occurred that we're still years later seeing the repercussions of. So those women are still out there. Even though when you look at the U.S. population as a whole, do you know almost less than 0.5% has actually served in the military? And so you look at on active duty, as of August 2015, there were about 1 million men on active duty per se, but only 200,000 women. So you think about that population that transitions and where they go is if they don't have another woman who's been there, who's done that, who understands what they went through. You can feel a little lost. Because you're returning.
A little. A little? That's an understatement.
You're going to a society who doesn't understand what it means to be that woman on the front line, that woman that's serving in a predominantly male environment. And so when you're adjusting, and you have to learn, how am I going to, get dressed in the morning to go to work? We've been in uniforms all our lives.
That was a difficult thing for me because even though I love fashion, it was turmoil to get up in the morning and wonder, what am I going to, I would just stand there in front of the closet. What am I wearing today? And it may take me an hour. Some people it doesn't affect them in that aspect. My husband can, lay his things out the night before and still wake up feeling like he wants to wear that tomorrow. But me, I may lay it out and I'm like, I don't really feel like wearing that. And I related back to, I didn't have that problem when I was active duty because I had the same thing that I wore. My boots were always, shine. My uniform was together, my hat was high and tight, and it was a whip to just put it on and walk out the door. You check yourself, make sure you're good to go. But when you make that transition and you're required to wear something other than blue jeans, it's difficult.
You think about it, women are judged differently in society.
Yeah.
And so you hear a lot of stories about the women who do news shows. And if she is seen in the same outfit, they're worried about an uproar about, oh, she wore the same outfit. But there have been studies that show a man can wear the same blazer all week long, just change his shirt, and people don't often notice the difference. So some of the pressures that women have to deal with are different. In one of the programs I teach is women to understand some of the unconscious behaviors that they do that will sabotage them from getting promoted. Different things because we are judged by some of the things that we do. And some of it is because we've never been taught anything different, those leadership skills that we need to finesse. How does it carry over from the military to civilian life? And just, learning your strengths and learning your weaknesses. So for me, as I said, I was very, very blessed to have a successful transition from, the moment I knew. I created a plan. I literally have my notebook still of where I would sit down and map this out. And so knowing that
I think I do too. I do too, yeah.
I mean, I knowing how successful my transition was, that was another piece of the motivation to be able to give back and show other people how to do that. And so that's a lot of what I do.
So what I'm hearing you say is you really would recommend that someone sit down. I keep hearing this. This is good because it means this is a trait of success. So oftentimes, and how you decide what a trait of success is that if someone, if you've heard it more often, more than 2 or 3 times of someone doing something over and over again, then it must be some evidence of success. And what I've heard is that you sat down and you wrote a plan and you had a conversation with yourself.
I sure did.
Yeah, and it's going deep. I really like Brene Brown, where she talks about being vulnerable, and she talks about really just, who cares? Who cares? Going deep in yourself and deciding and asking those hard questions, because oftentimes, because we're told to suck it up and drive on, those are the famous words, quote unquote, that we tend to not want to go deep. We just figure, oh, I can deal with that. It's not a problem. I'll just improvise and do something different, and not really paying attention to it until it's too late. And we're wondering, where did that come from? And it comes from not doing the work, not sitting down and facing those hard questions that we have to ask ourselves. So I want to ask you a real quick question. You mentioned, right, make notes and kind of see what you want to do and really research. You want to research. Is there any books or any type of training that you would recommend someone who is active duty or someone who is serving, someone who just got out, someone who may have been in and didn't know what to do, and they're saying, hey, I think I may want to look into being a career coach? What advice would you give to them?
Well, a couple answers for you there. You probably don't even know this yet, but I have my book that's coming out very soon, which is 15 Simple Steps to a Successful Military Transition. And it's kind of like the Dummy series, but it's a series that's the Itty Bitty series. And it outlines some of the steps that I took to have that successful transition. And so that will be released next month. And also, in looking at a career coach, there's a particular book that I love, 5 Steps to Rapid Employment by Jay Block. He happens to be one of my mentors, and he is actually my coach, my mentor, because I believe that every coach should also have a coach that keeps,
Yes,
again, that
yes.
continuing growing process, that continuing learning process. And that is probably one of the best programs for a transition, but also when you learn some of the key principles of career coaching. And there's also an online program that goes with it that I am certified to administer the online program, as well as a coaching program using the 5 steps process. But that by far is one of the best I've seen. There's also the joining particular associations, as you said here in Maryland. There's the Maryland Career Development Association, and there's also the Professional Association of Resume Writers and Career Coach, of which I do belong to both. And through the Professional Association for Resume Writers and Career Coach, I did become a certified professional coach, and they have Diane Hudson Brown has a wonderful program there. So I became a 5-step to 5 steps to, I can't get it out. 5 steps to rapid employment.
You did a lot of additional work.
I did.
Really, because it's not something that you can just say, okay, I'm going to take my current experience and then just go into it, because it's a whole different realm, and it requires additional training. It sounds like. So that's awesome. So, in saying that, how long would someone have to complete any of these programs, just, in order to be a certified coach?
It really depends. Like I said, you have the 3-day programs out there. For my life coaching, I went to the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, and that program on average is 8 months. Like I said, that when you complete that program, you have hours of experience in coaching, and you're coaching, working with clients before you finish the program. And so it really depends on the program you choose. As I said, I am a continual learning, and for me, I was fortunate that Jay Block was a wonderful mentoring coach for me to work with. So that's a continuous process for me as well.
Okay. Well, I want to say thank you again for coming here and sharing your experience and sharing, the answers that someone can actually take a step and go into that particular career field. It's been an honor, and I want to say thank you for coming to visit us here on iNSPIRES. I hope that you found this information very helpful, and I would love for you to check us out on the web, iNSPIRES.com, and on LinkedIn, we have an awesome Facebook page. Thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.